Hello, everybody. My name is Jason Sanger, and this is the Phoenix Forum. So, starting off, I did a precedent study on the ARC building at the Green School in Bali, Indonesia. This building is used for recreational use, as well as other things, such as presentations or just gathering of students. This is something that reminded me of my visit to Japan on a study abroad last year to the Kanagawa Institute of Technology. They have a plaza called Cape Plaza that is intended just for students to come and gather and take away from school. And that is something that I really wanted to integrate into my design. So here we have some climate information, the most relevant being at the bottom left, showing that the prevailing wind directions are east and west. Here at the top left, we have the full site model. Top right, we have the first three iterations for ideas for the design of this school, which I ended up doing a part trade school, part vocational school. This is something that I modeled off of the school that I went to in high school. It was a supplemental school where I would go to high school in the morning and then go to the school in the afternoon. And then adults 18 and older could pay a tuition fee for trade school. I noticed a big need for that in the Phoenix area. So this is something that I've gone for. In the bottom left, we can see a further iteration. Bottom right, another further iteration. And then here in this image, we can see the building adjacent the site to the north. And then here is my current iteration. Here is the program diagram, and the tabulation on the right, showing the square footage of each space and what they're used for. Blue is learning, orange is collective, gray is support, and pink is other. Here we have the site context plan. At the very bottom left, it's about 3/10 of a mile away, is a light rail station, which students for this school will be able to use because they will be 14 years and older. So if some students have another station closer to their school, they'd be able to take it to this school, or adults would also be able to take it. Here's the basement plan. The basement is the space that I intended to be most like the Cape Plaza and the Arc, sort of space for students to get away and go meditate. Here's the first floor, showcasing the majority of the spaces in the building. So at the bottom, we have a showcase presentation space. This was heavily emphasized at the school, was presentation skills. Bottom left is manufacturing, then the kitchen, then the loading, then top left is vertical circulation, top right is a design market. Then we have the engineering and trades labs on the right side, and then the bottom left is the entrance space. So the design market is something I wanted to incorporate to connect the school to the community because there's an art district in this area. And I created a large window that faces directly to the mural of the building to the north. Here we have the second floor, the blank spaces showing that which spaces are double height. And then on the right side, we have the classrooms. On the left, we have the cafeteria. And at the top, we have the offices for staff and faculty. Here we have the roof plan showing the HVAC going on the roof in the towers. The towers I sort of designed after a native Puebloan architectural style. And then here in the center, there's this sort of ovular shape that is based on a Hohokam Native American mound. And that is the main bathroom for the building. Here we have the south elevation showcasing the large solar chimney I've incorporated to attempt to keep the building cooler. As you can also see, there are no windows on the south side of the building. Here we have the east side where there are more windows as well as spaces to allow the prevailing winds from the east and west to flow through the courtyard. And the barrier I used was modeled off of a pattern on the Hohokam Native American mound that I'd studied. Here we have the west side, again showcasing that solar chimney and showing the garage doors to the loading room as well as the manufacturing floor so students can drive up the alley and drop off their large heavy materials so they don't have to carry it all the way through the building. Then here we have the north side. This is where the majority of traffic is intended to drive through to drop people off. So school buses and cars, parents dropping their students off can enter through this open part of the building there. Here we have the transverse section showing on the right the manufacturing space. On the bottom is that pit space for students to get away from school. On the left, we have the lab, and then on the second floor is the classroom. Here again, we have that pit space at the bottom. On the left, we have the design market, intending for artists to come showcase their work. Students can see it, the public can come see it. It can be a gathering space to learn about art, to connect art with the trades and with engineering school is something that I see as important, something that I haven't really seen before. And then here on the right, we have the showcase and presentation space where students can present their projects, where people can come to showcase their work, stuff like that. Then we can see the solar chimney there, and there's a little vent where air can be pulled through. There's another vent which unfortunately isn't shown, but pulls in cooler air from the courtyard through the space, and then the hot air is expelled up out of that chimney. And here we have some exterior perspectives of the building. Here's some interior perspectives, three of which are of the manufacturing space, and the bottom left is of the cafeteria space. Then here we have perspectives of the pit. I intended to have weeping walls all around, so water running down the walls, to create a cooling effect, as well as the sound can sort of be calming to help students again take away. And then there's a large pyramidal stepped bleacher seating where students can come to sit on it, kind of walk up and down it, use that as they please. Then here we have some perspectives of the courtyard. The slits are skylights with pools on top of them that were allowing the light that we just saw in the pit to shine down in there to get some natural light into the basement. And we have some native plants here. Here we have the structure. So I went with a steel framing system with concrete slabs that are cast in place over steel decking. This allowed me to do what I wanted to with my design, as well as I have two masonry structural towers. Then here we have an exploded isometric showing the structure, the walls, the floors and the roof, and the HVAC system. Then here we have the passive diagram, the blue showing the prevailing winds and natural ventilation. Black is showing solar shading, which I intended to be on every window of this building because the sun is very hot in Phoenix, of course. The red is showing that solar chimney, and then the yellow is showing where rainwater would be collected. And then the two different types of plants I intend to use are featherbush and desert ruellia. Here we have the active system, the HVAC system. I went with variable air volume system because it is flexible and allowed me to put the large system components on the roof and in the basement. Then here we have some 1/4-inch detail drawings, again, of the manufacturing space. Here we have, again, of the manufacturing space, some 1/2-inch details showing the water barrier and thermal barrier. And you can see better the holes in the walls to allow cooler air to be brought in from the courtyard to expel the hotter air out of the solar chimney. And then here we have my section perspective of the manufacturing floor showing the adjacent cafeteria, kitchen, air space, and then the below pit space. Thank you.